Tonight, motoring mayhem as a car spears through the wall of the Victor Harbour Hospital, an elderly patient pulled from the rubble.
Also, is this assault? New vision of the moment Matt Crouch knocks a Power fan's hat off his head.
Distressing, never before heard details in the cold case murder of a northern suburbs grandmother.
100 kilos lighter without surgery or drugs. Find out how she did it.
And from the King's lips, Chalmers back home and making some bold plans for the future.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Rosanna Mangiarelli and Will Goodings.
Good evening. We begin with heart-stopping pictures of the moment a runaway of four-wheel drive ploughed into the Victor Harbour Hospital.
It ended up inside the building, narrowly missing staff and patients. The entire emergency caught on camera.
This is the moment an out-of-control four-wheel drive slams into the South Coast District Hospital as an emergency of a different kind unfolds.
I heard a car clip a car up here, turned around, I was just working here, just in time to see old matey come flying out here and full throttle into the building.
The Holden Jackaroo had just collided with a Tesla on Bay Road and lost control.
Somehow accelerated and T-boned us, spun us around and then ended up into the wall.
The tyres popped, and because it was steel on the concrete, it started sparking, the tyres started on fire, so we quickly put that out with the extinguisher.
The 61-year-old driver from Encounter Bay was treated at the scene by hospital staff and has since been transferred to Flinders. The owner of the Tesla, Daryl Stitchell, and his teenage son are okay.
I'm feeling all right, lucky. Probably get a new car out of it, but yeah, bit of a pain.
72-year-old patient Anne Basham was among those evacuated.
Oh, they were just throwing towels on top of her and anything they could, just trying to keep all of the dust and everything out of her face, being that has such bad asthma.
The theatre, recovery area and a hospital ward were all impacted by dust and smoke. Local ambulances also diverted to other centres for the afternoon.
Hopefully everyone's going to be okay out of it.
Mitchell Sariovsky, 7 News.
Crow star Matt Crouch has broken his silence on the Showdown hat flick incident, saying people can make up their own minds about whether he assaulted the fan. 7 News can tonight show you new video of the altercation, which has sparked debate about how close fans get to players on the boundary.
4 days after hitting back at a mouthy fan at the Showdown, here's what Matt Crouch thinks about the police investigation.
Everyone can look at the vision and they can make that decision for themselves, but yeah, as I said, that's all I'll say for now.
New video obtained by 7 News captured the exact moment the Star Crow lost his cool. He can be seen eyeing off the Port supporter as he yelled at him on the sideline before turning back and flicking his hat. But whether it constitutes assault will be decided by police. Is that Port fan out of line?
The investigation's going on at the moment, so I'll just let the investigation happen, then I'll have no comment until then.
But footy fans are happy to have their say, even this Port fan.
What do you make of this Port fan actually going to police and filing it?
So I don't think there was much in it.
I just think it was a hat flick. It wasn't assault.
I think he was a bit frustrated with the loss.
Port chairman David Koch is calling for calm.
Both clubs to take a responsibility for just taking the sting out of the Showdown, the nastiness.
The questions are now being raised about how close the AFL allows supporters to interact with players on the boundary. These are the ugly scenes following a Bombers loss 3 weeks ago. A Collingwood fan was banned for 12 months earlier this year for this interaction with a West Coast player.
From a positive point of view, that interaction with the fans and the kids that just love footy. If we start putting up barriers and fences, we lose that.
7 News understands the Port fan who lodged the police complaint wasn't at work today and isn't taking the fallout well. The Crows say they haven't reached out to him and won't because it is now a police matter. Do you think it's a waste of police resources?
It's not up to me right now, but yeah, people can make that decision. Thank you.
Hannah Ford, 7 News.
An Unley businessman has sobbed in court after he was jailed for 8 years for sharing hundreds of sickening child abuse images online. Philip Andrews, the former boss of the gasworks store on Unley Road, sobbed in court as his 8-year sentence was handed down. The judge said Andrews was clearly prepared to act on his sexual attraction to children. The 53-year-old sent more than 1,000 videos to other pedophiles online. He'll be eligible for parole in 6.5 years.
Distressing details have emerged about the cold case murder of a northern suburbs grandmother at the hands of an alleged serial killer. A triple murder trial's heard Stephen Hainsworth's oldest alleged victim was found without underwear.
Julie Lanes waited 26 years to tell the story about the horrific moment she found her dear mum dead in her kitchen, an image she'll never forget. I pulled down her dress. It was up by her hips, she said. Delicately, the prosecutor probed, "Was your mum wearing underwear?" Racked with emotion, she replied, "No." Stephen Hainsworth is accused of killing 71-year-old Phyllis Harrison, who was his neighbour at Elizabeth South. He's also on trial for the killings of his aunt, Bev Hanley, and friend Stephen Newton. Day 2 of the trial heard ambulance crews dispatched to Mrs Harrison's home told the family, "We're going to have to call police because something's wrong here." While a police officer testified, "I saw a small laceration to the neck and a pool of blood on the carpet." Her then 11-year-old grandson was among the first people to find her. Prosecutors say all 3 victims were known to the accused and lived in close proximity to him at the time of their violent deaths. In her evidence, Julie Lane agreed that her mother often mentioned a neighbour called Stephen who would come over the shared backyard fence to collect a ball. The trial is being heard by a judge alone. Deanna Williams, 7 News.
There was peak hour traffic chaos at Hendon this morning when a truckie stopped in a hurry to avoid a collision. He slammed on the brakes, but then his trailer came apart, its rear wheels and axle rolling down Tapley's Hill Road just after 8 a.m. A shipping container was hanging off the rig for hours as traffic was diverted around the wreck. Police are urging anyone with dashcam footage to come forward.
AFL coaches are leading tributes for Herald Sun journalist Sam Landsburg, who was killed in a road tragedy in Melbourne. He was hit by a truck at a notorious intersection locals have been worried about for years.
A star scribe gone too soon. Sam Landsburg died after he was hit by a truck. The Herald Sun writer gracing his final front page today.
Tragic news yesterday.
In a really tragic set of circumstances.
An award-winning journalist pinned as a future leader. The 35-year-old was the son of former Western Bulldogs Dr. Jake, the club sharing its support for the Landsburg family.
Love to you, Jake and Ian, and we're thinking of you.
Sam's colleagues at Fox Footy paying their respects.
Anyone who came across Sam realises that he's a lovely person.
His final moments were at this Richmond intersection. The driver of the truck that killed him stopped and helped and tested negative to roadside drug and alcohol tests. But he allegedly refused a blood test and has been banned from driving. Regardless of the outcome of the police investigation into the death of Sam Landsburg, locals are worried about the safety of the intersection. In 2013, a 14-year-old girl was killed there and traffic light sequencing is an issue. Drivers get a green light 2 seconds before pedestrians get a green man, meaning drivers turning left could easily think they don't need to give way to pedestrians, only for the pedestrian light to change moments later.
It's just been dangerous for many, many years. I always stand back with the pram.
7 News isn't suggesting the delay has anything to do with Sam Landsburg's death. Rory Campbell, 7 News.
Misbehaving federal politicians could soon be fined up to 5% of their salary, booted from powerful committees and even suspended from Parliament. The Albanese government wants the new laws in place by October.
Almost 3 years after the Set the Standard review and after a civil court found Brittany Higgins was raped in a ministerial office more than 4 years ago.
This parliament should serve as a model workplace for our nation.
But doesn't.
Heckling, bullying, shouting, intimidation.
I've never seen the behaviour that I see, particularly in the chamber, in any other workplace in my entire life.
Senator David Van, accused of sexual harassment, Liberal MP Karen Andrews subjected to it by a colleague, ministers having affairs with staffers, most still in Parliament, but in almost any other job would have been sacked.
It's different for members of Parliament, so they are essentially employed by their electorates.
And can only be voted out. But under a new workplace code of conduct will now face fines of up to 5% of their salaries, about $11,000 and more.
Suspension, removal from a parliamentary committee.
An independent parliamentary standards commission to investigate complaints against politicians, staffers, bureaucrats and journalists, with powers to name and shame and recommend action by Parliament's Privileges Committee. But that still means they can't be sacked, and the process won't be entirely independent, politicians ultimately passing judgment on politicians.
I definitely think they should be setting the standards, yeah.
Everyone needs a code of conduct in their workplace.
These are the representatives of our country and everyone should be held by the law.
Especially those who make the laws. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Police are hunting thieves who stole a number of motorbikes in the city overnight, torching one in a car park. Emergency crews were called to Crowther Street just before 4 and were able to quickly extinguish the blaze. Police soon realised 2 other bikes were stolen. They were found dumped nearby.
Jetstar is facing legal action over its refusal to refund COVID travel credits. Class action lawyers claim the budget airline owes millions of dollars to hundreds of thousands of travellers.
Grounded planes meant grounded refunds. 4 years later, some customers still don't have their money back, so they're taking Jetstar to the federal court.
Those people were legally entitled to simply get their money back as a refund.
Instead, Jetstar passengers were sent credit vouchers with strict conditions on their use. This new class action will try to force outstanding refunds and seek compensation for holding the money so long.
If you think about these hundreds of millions of dollars that Jetstar unlawfully held for years, at any ordinary interest rate, this is a huge amount of money.
For a huge number of people, potentially hundreds of thousands. It's the same law firm running a similar case against Qantas. 1 year in, that's headed towards mediation.
What's stopping you from refunding the money just directly?
I don't expect all of you have run an airline to understand the complexity in an airline ticketing system.
When we asked today, Jetstar wouldn't reveal how much it was holding in outstanding COVID credits. We removed expiry dates for COVID vouchers so they can be used indefinitely, Jetstar told us. They can be used across multiple bookings and for multiple people.
Jetstar itself has been a bit slippery about the exact number of credits it issued and the exact value of them all. What we can say is the value of those credits was in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
And across international and domestic flights, passengers will join the class action automatically if they were given credit for a cancelled flight between 2020 and 2022. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
The Obamas have sent the Democratic convention into meltdown, filling the stadium with love for Kamala Harris. They're considered Democratic heroes and delighted in painting Donald Trump as an unhinged villain.
America, hope is making a comeback.
The former First Lady commanding the crowd.
There is no other choice than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. No other choice.
Warning what the Democrat nominee will face.
Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Warming up the crowd for the man who made it so. America's 44th president, her husband, Barack Obama. One of the most influential Democrats, his election made history.
I'm feeling fired up.
Now throwing his support behind a candidate who could follow his path.
America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
The symmetry unmistakable. America's first black president now asking Americans to elect for the first time a black woman as president.
Party faithful throwing a boisterous roll call. The candidates beaming into the convention on a big screen. A two-state show of strength as the nominees campaigned in Wisconsin.
This is a people-powered campaign.
In Chicago, Tim Lester, 7 News.
King Kyle Chalmers has returned to where he loves being best, back home with his fiancée, and he sent a warning to the swimming universe. He may have more Olympics and more medals left in him yet.
King Kyle's reign is to infinity and beyond. Well, that's how it seems in Olympic longevity.
I love swimming and I want to swim on as long as I possibly can.
Look out world, how long?
If I make it to LA, that would be fantastic. LA, I'll be 30, so I'll be 34 in Brisbane. Pretty young.
The 100-metre freestyler doesn't see his Paris silver as a consolation prize. It's a tough gig, especially when you can see feet kicking in front of you.
I believed that I was coming dead last and I'd had the worst race of my swimming career. Super proud to come away with a silver medal, and for my third Olympics to be able to medal 3 times in the same event is something I'm going to be forever proud of.
He was also off the blocks quickly in Paris with controversy. World record-breaking Chinese gold medalist Pan Zhang Luo claimed Kyle had snubbed him.
I'm very glad that once the competition ended, he spoke to the media again and said that it was kind of a miscommunication.
Chalmers' next main event is marriage to Norwegian fiancée Ingeborg Lønning. We all know he's fast in the pool. Let's see how he goes down the aisle. He's put the ring on Inge's finger. What next?
I think it's her job now to start planning the wedding, which I think she's very excited about.
And after the Chapel of Love,
have no intentions to retire anytime soon.
No worries, according to Dawn. Mike Smithson, 7 News.
Might break more records, Kyle.
26, right? Now, there is a guy, Florent Manodou, who won a bronze medal in the 50. That was his 50 freestyle. That was his 4th games in a row that he's won medals in the one event. Kyle's only 26. Manodou's 33.
Oh.
Get him to LA and then get him to Brisbane when he's 34 years of age. You can do it.
Yeah, you certainly
Possible.
can.
Absolutely.
What else is coming up in the world of sports, Soder?
Well, Dan Houston's up for a fight again to save his season after he was whacked with a 5-game ban. We've got all the details coming up about the appeal. Now, Tex Walker's ready for the Swans and the coach updates the forwards' future. And Nick Kyrgios, the voice of reason. Well, the Aussie doesn't hold back about world number 1, Yannick Sinner, who escaped the doping ban. All that and plenty more coming up shortly.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Soda. Now, he plunged down a 10-metre cliff at Hallett Cove the moment this Uber driver took a wrong turn. That's next.
Also, an out-of-control ute leaves a trail of destruction in the northern suburbs.
Bye-bye Bennifer, why Hollywood's biggest couple is calling it quits.
And later, the first guest welcome to Adelaide's new Marriott Hotel.
An Uber driver somehow walked away without a scratch after launching his car off a cliff at Hallett Cove. CCTV captured the moment the Toyota took a wrong turn before plunging 10 metres onto the rocky beach.
An Uber driver swan dive off a Hallett Cove cliff in his Toyota. Oh, what a feeling.
I've lived here my whole life and I've never seen anything like it.
CCTV cameras on Heron Way captured the Camry driving past just before 9 last night before the driver takes a wrong turn.
He stops, pulls over, then it's almost like he starts again, goes up the curb, slows down like he knows he's not on the road.
And then it looks like he drives up there. Maybe he got confused that it was the road still, or there's a little bit of pavement there still, but yeah, a bit strange.
The impact of the crash set off an emergency alert on the driver's phone. Within minutes, crews were there. Remarkably, the driver crawled out of the wreck and walked up to greet them.
We looked out and we seen some cops and fire trucks, and then we seen a tow truck, but we didn't really think much of it.
The 27-year-old was taken to hospital for a checkup and mandatory blood and alcohol testing. He's now recovering at home.
Very lucky. Yeah, it's not a small drop, especially onto all the rocks.
It took tow truck drivers 4 hours to pull the wreck off the beach.
We had to get 2 tow trucks, put 2 winches on it and somehow get it up the cliff face.
Hallett Cove residents have one word of advice for the lucky driver who incredibly walked away without a scratch.
Go buy a lotto ticket, really, be happy.
Peter Caldecott, 7 News.
A driver's left a trail of destruction after losing control of his twin-cab ute at Dudley Park just before 11 a.m. It crashed into 4 parked cars on Exeter Terrace before rolling onto its side. Police are investigating whether a medical episode contributed to the crash. The driver was tested for drugs and alcohol before being taken to hospital with minor injuries.
Hollywood's most talked about couple has called it quits again. Just 2 years after their fairy tale wedding, Jennifer Lopez has filed for divorce from Ben Affleck, and splitting their epic fortune could get messy.
Just last year, this documentary celebrated what they called the greatest love story never told.
You don't know how much to give, how much to reveal.
Ben and Jen never say never to divorce, as it turns out.
It's hardly a surprise. I mean, the speculation has gone on for months.
They secretly split back in April.
If I'm going to fail, I want to at least have a chance to fail on my own.
You don't need to worry about Ben, let me just tell you.
But J-Lo made it official today on their second anniversary.
You'd have to say she's making some sort of statement by doing that.
J-Lo filed the documents on her own, like she literally put on an outfit and went down to the court by herself.
It's their second try at love. The first time ended in tears too, almost 20 years ago. A preview to this latest train wreck.
They got married for love. They didn't care about the money, but now they're going to have to worry about the money.
Even if you were broke, my love don't cost a thing.
Well, that's not true. The couple doesn't have a prenup, so lawyers will have to carve up their fortune, thought to be around $1 billion Australian dollars.
This is so crazy, right? I mean, celebrities of this level not having a prenup?
Starting with their $100 million home.
I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot.
Just not love. In Hollywood, Miley Hogan, 7 News.
The world's biggest solar and battery project, set for an old pastoral station in the Northern Territory, has cleared environmental approvals from the federal government. The Sun Cable venture will transport electricity first to Darwin via 800 kilometres of overhead transmission lines, then on to Singapore through 4,300 kilometres of subsea cables.
A decade-long initiative to try to make a huge change in Australia's export industry.
Experts have questioned the viability of the intercontinental grid, with a final investment decision not expected until 2027.
With just 10 sleeps to go, the countdown's well and truly on for the Royal Show.
Casey joins us from Wollonga tonight with some students and animals who are especially excited.
Well, Wollonga High School here is one of a number of South Australian schools participating in the show in a big way. Now, there is 40 students here in the show team, and with less than 2 weeks to go, they are busy refining their skills in presenting a wide range of animals. Of course, it is a fantastic way to expose these students to farming, because most of them don't have a background in agriculture.
Me and Noni here have been working super hard. We're super excited, us and all the other animals as well.
I think we should have a good show team this year and hopefully come home with a few ribbons.
Now, not just animals, they'll also have entries in the fleece section, olive oil and even wine. Now, as for your weather, we are expecting some more light showers tonight and tomorrow. Details in the forecast soon.
All right, we'll catch you then, Casey. Staying in style, the very first guests of Adelaide's newest upmarket hotel given star treatment. Those exclusive pictures next.
Also, only on 7, the Adelaide tradies rewarded for their brave acts.
Workers about to get new powers, giving them the right to ignore their boss.
And later, no drugs, no surgery. How this Aussie mum lost 100 kilos in 1 year.
As Adelaide's newest 5-star hotel gets set to open tomorrow, staff are about to have a dry run with a family steeped in South Australian history. The first guests to stay are the Todd family, and their great-great-grandfather connected Adelaide and Australia to the world.
Every new recruit was on hand to welcome the Todd family. Not only are they the first guests to check in at Adelaide's newest 5-star hotel, but also a family with a strong connection to the building.
Sir Charles Todd is my great-great-grandfather. He connected Adelaide and South Australia to the rest of the world.
Barry and his son Julian are descendants of Sir Charles Todd, the man who invented and built the overland telegraph line. It was inside the old GPO building where Sir Todd's invention was born.
It feels mind-blowing, really.
It was here where the overland telegraph line stood 152 years ago. Sir Todd's invention meant that rather than waiting 4 months to send someone a message overseas, you could send it in just 4 hours.
And the most important thing is it connected an early colonial nation to the rest of the world. As a nation, Australians and New Zealanders all felt extraordinarily isolated.
Every wall or corridor either steeped in South Australian history or a nod to local artists.
It was really important we honoured the tradition, the place and the people.
The Hotel Marriott officially opens tomorrow. Jade Robran, 7 News.
An 11-year-old Australian girl stabbed in London is finally back home tonight, bravely telling her story for the first time. Layla Johnson was on a dream holiday with her mum to see Taylor Swift when a daytime walk almost turned deadly.
Happy and smiling 11-year-old Layla Johnson is finally back home near Bega.
It was bad to meet them under that circumstance, but there are some people that I will remember forever.
She was on the holiday of her young life, travelling, watching the Matildas and a dream to see Taylor Swift, but it almost turned deadly, stabbed at random by a man in Leicester Square.
And we just came out of the Lego store when she was jumped on quite suddenly and, did not see it coming, didn't suspect anything, obviously.
Her attacker stopped by a brave security guard.
I jumped on him, hold the hand in which he wasn't having a knife, and I just put him down on the floor and just hold him and kick the knife away from him.
He's just one of many she now wants to thank.
There were so many people in hospital and after hospital, just that made me feel so much more safe.
She's been recovering for more than a week, Australian consular officials even making certain she got to see Taylor Swift before returning home on Sunday and straight on to a stage show of her own.
She's the one that's kept everyone else afloat, I guess. She's the most optimistic kid you could meet.
Andrew Denny, 7 News.
New video shows the moment a luxury yacht sank off Sicily. The lights of the vessel can be seen slowly sinking into the water. The search for missing British billionaire Mike Lynch and 5 others is entering a third day. Divers have opened up the hull 50 metres below the surface but can't move inside because of furniture blocking the way.
The world's oldest person has died at the age of 117. Maria Branyas was born in the US and migrated to Spain when she was 8. She lived through 2 world wars, the Spanish Civil War and 2 global pandemics. She attributed her longevity to a no worries and no regrets approach to life.
2 Adelaide tradies turned humble heroes have walked the red carpet of Government House to accept prestigious Bravery Awards. The pair risked their own lives to save a woman from a burning home. Paramedics say she was just 30 seconds from death.
On the red carpet in the ballroom of Government House, this is a far cry from a dusty worksite.
So are you guys more comfortable in suits or high-vis?
Definitely high-vis. Yeah, definitely high-vis, yeah.
It was November 2021 and roof plumbers Ashley Gow-Smith and Tyrone Anthonys were working at Oaklands Park when they saw dense smoke billowing from a nearby house. They ran towards the back door and heard coughing coming from inside. Without thinking, they burst inside and dragged the woman out, who by then was unconscious.
Of course, I mean, it wasn't even a second thought. It was once we realised what was happening, no hesitation.
I held her up and propped her up and then she opened her eyes. I'm going, oh, she's alive.
Paramedics say the victim was just 30 seconds from death. It was an emergency services member there that day who nominated the tradies for their Bravery Awards.
My wife said to me this morning, take it in and enjoy it because you deserve it.
A further 19 South Australians will be recognised for their contributions to the community at another ceremony here at Government House tomorrow.
Almost 3 years after the incident, Ashley and Tyrone still work together. Now their high-vis will be adorned with some brand new hardware.
You going to wear them to work?
Yeah, go in there and just show the boys, walking around the site.
Lauren Rose, 7 News.
Well, Australian workers are about to be given the right to ignore their bosses out of work hours. Those details next.
Also, the 2 major reasons Australians are pushing back retirement.
And later, why Crow Riley Thilthorpe is shaving off his famous facial hair.
Tonight's edition of The Nightly is out now. Australia's only digital newspaper to drop nightly. Free to your device every weeknight. Spend your night wisely at thenightly.com.au.
Aussie workers will soon have the right to switch off from emails and phone calls outside work hours. The new right to disconnect law comes into effect on Monday, but not everyone's convinced.
If you've ever wanted to ignore this call, now's your time.
I think, as long as you're getting the work done within, those hours, you shouldn't be kind of getting those calls, to be honest with you.
I see no need as to why they would need me to do extra work.
From Monday, employees of businesses with over 15 workers have the right to disconnect after work.
So it gives employees a peace of mind that they're legally protected if they don't respond to messages outside their paid work hours.
It's not illegal for managers to contact employees whenever they wish, but it gives employees the right to refuse to monitor, read or respond to emails or phone calls from their employer or anyone work-related. Companies caught breaching the rules can face fines of almost $20,000.
Determining whether an employee's refusal is reasonable, we'll have to see how those factors work in practice.
Similar laws have been adopted in 25 countries, including France. Some Australian companies, like Luxury Escapes, already ahead of the curve.
And we've certainly never had an issue. There's certain people who would never contact outside hours and certain people who would want to be contacted outside hours. So, the need to legislate for this sort of thing just makes no sense at all.
Melina Saris, 7 News.
Higher insurance premiums and power bills are making it harder than ever for Australians to retire. Consumer Affairs editor Georgia Holland explains.
The latest data from ASFA paints a worrying picture for retirees. A couple aged 65 now needs $73,000 per year to have a comfortable retirement. A single requires $52,000. Over the past 12 months, the cost of retiring has climbed 3.7%, causing the most pressure. Household insurance premiums up 14% on last year, electricity prices up 6% and groceries up nearly 4%. Having enough money to last your retirement is a big concern, but ASFA says the super system is there to help. Voluntary contributions can make a real difference to how comfortably you're able to live once you finish work.
Let's take a look at your money now, and it was another positive day for Aussie shares. The ASX 200 up 13 points, back above the 8,000 point barrier. Among the market movers, Brambles rose $1.45 while Santos lost 34 cents. The Aussie dollar's buying 67 US cents and 51 British pence.
Australians who create and share deepfake pornography could spend up to 6 years in jail after new laws pass through federal parliament. A deepfake is an image or video which digitally manipulates an individual's likeness to show them performing an act they haven't done.
An Aussie mum's sharing her impressive weight loss journey. She's dropped 100 kilos and says she feels terrific. Find out how she did it without drugs like Ozempic nor surgery. Don't miss that story a little bit later in 7 News.
Australia's youngest ever Olympic gold medalist has finally received the prize she most desired after carving out history in Paris. Skateboarder Arisa Trew was promised a pet duck by her parents if she won gold. Well, today, the 14-year-old was presented with the duck live on Gold Coast Radio for confirming she plans to take her new pet for walks to the local skate park.
She looks happy about the duck than the medal almost.
I think she is. Are they good walkers, ducks? Put a leash on one?
Mate, well,
maybe not a leash, but...
She's a very down-to-earth young girl.
No,
Don't forget,
gorgeous.
she gave up her business class seat on the flight home so she could sit up the back with her friends.
Is that right?
Yeah, so...
she's a superstar.
She knows what's going on.
Good on her, and many more Olympics in her too.
Absolutely.
Now, so did Dan Houston. He's trying everything he can to save his season.
Yeah, he got whacked with that 5-game ban, as we know, but he wants to be around just in case the Power can make the big one. Also coming up, Tex is back to take on the Swans, and the coach weighs in on the forwards' future. The Crows also making a late play for some September action in the Sandful. And drug shock, the world #1 in the centre of a scandal, as Nick Kyrgios tells us what he really thinks. Hello again. Port Adelaide's Dan Houston will head to the AFL Appeals Board in the last-ditch bid to save his season. Let's go to Josh Money now. And Josh, Houston's trying to put a dent in that 5-game ban.
It sure is, Soda. As it stands, even if Port went all the way to this year's grand final, Houston will not be involved. The Power is working towards an appeals hearing late tomorrow afternoon, where the club will argue the 5-game ban handed down by the tribunal last night was excessive for the charge. The club and Houston aren't disputing the All-Australian is guilty of careless, high, rough conduct with severe impact, but believe he should only be banned for 3 matches. Houston last night expressed his remorse for the bump on Crows superstar Isaac Rankin.
I hope Isaac's doing okay. I flicked him a message and I genuinely hope he has a speedy recovery.
Rankin was a very welcome sight at West Lakes today after being knocked out and injuring his AC joint in that bump, with Houston receiving very little sympathy from the Crows coach.
With respect, I don't care what the punishment is. It doesn't interest me. I'm interested in what our players, their welfare and their health.
Showdown 56 has provided more post-match storylines than any before it, something Power Chairman David Koch believes is partly due to the fuse lit by Josh Rochelli's pre-game comments, suggesting Power fans have no teeth.
Could it have been seen as sort of really elitist crap? Denigrating, almost poor shaming.
Josh is a passionate young lad, really important part of what we're building at this footy club. With that comes, as I mentioned before, we all have moments that we might like to have back.
And he certainly wasn't alone there on Saturday night. The Crows lost their heads after the Houston bump, Nick's admitting they missed Taylor Walker's leadership.
Having maybe that slightly more experienced head around the group to just calm ourselves down and bring ourselves back to what's needed. Taylor brings that.
And he'll bring that when he returns from eye surgery against the Swans on Saturday. But news of a new deal will have to wait until next week. While Nix has denied reports, Mark Keen's already told the club he wants to head back to Collingwood.
Yeah, he and I have had enough conversation that I'm confident that he wants to be here. We'll just keep working through what that looks like.
Josh Money, 7 News.
Let's go around the grounds now, and off the back of 7 straight wins, the Giants are again in good form at the business end of the season in a fight for second with the Power.
Yeah, we're just as confident as we were last year, and I suppose having been through it last year too, I think we have even more that sense of establishment and being able to perform in September.
Now, they've got the Bulldogs on Sunday. They'll be without Lockie Ash, who failed to have his 1-game ban for rough conduct overturned. Meanwhile, former Essendon skipper Dyson Heppel will don the sash for the last time against Brisbane, and coach Brad Scott defended his decision not to play Heppel in front of the Bombers faithful last weekend.
My job is very difficult in that I've got to deal with sentiment, but ultimately my job is to get Essendon back to playing and winning finals, and that's what we're trying to do, and we won't let anything stand in the way of that.
Well, a thrilling finish to the Sandford Minor round will unfold on Saturday with 9 of the 10 ladder positions up for change. The Crows are making a remarkable late run for finals, having won 5 of their past 6 games.
Sandford Crows coach Matty Wright has a spring in his step with his team enjoying a 4-game winning streak and climbing from second last on the ladder into finals contention.
We're just playing a really good brand of footy, and it takes a while for a young group to understand what it takes and how to execute it, more importantly. So yeah, we're in a really good space now.
The Crows won just 2 of their first 10 games, a rough start to the season that included a thrashing at the hands of Saturday's opponent, Sturt.
There was moments in that game where we were in the fight and we had a really good patch between the second and third quarter, but a patch isn't going to get it done against Sturt this week. We know they're rock solid defensively, so we've got to find a way to get through that and kick a score.
The Crows' must-win clash with Sturt at Unley on Saturday is the Channel 7 game of the week. Our live coverage starts 2 p.m. And Glenelg rookie Ben Ridgway has taken out the 7 News goal of the week for round 18. John Casey, 7 News.
Well, Nick Kyrgios seems to be the voice of reason after revelations. World number 1 Jannik Sinner sensationally avoided a doping ban. That's despite twice testing positive for steroids in March. Sinner blames contamination by a physio, while Kyrgios has been widely applauded for saying he should have copped a 2-year ban. There we go. Just Nick Kyrgios talking a bit of sense. Not being controversial, I love it.
He hates weighing in, Nick, doesn't he? He just has to be dragged out.
Good on him. Obviously, we'll have all the Dan Houston news tomorrow night too as he fronts the appeals board.
Yes, look forward to that. Thank you very much, Soda. Well, Australia's new biggest loser is a mother who's shed a staggering 100 kilos in just 12 months.
She achieved the life-changing result without weight loss drugs nor surgery, instead taking it back to basics, and it's helping keep the weight off.
Weighing in at a healthy 87 kilograms, Sarah Parker has lost an incredible 100 kilos in just 12 months without surgery or drugs.
Very proud. My face has changed. My body shape has changed.
From a size 30 to a size 12 after a decade-long struggle.
My doctor said, "You're going to die if we don't sort this out now."
High blood pressure, cholesterol and heart rate forcing Sarah to take action, switching to calorie-controlled light and easy meals and daily exercise, seeing her lose the equivalent of 2 entire people.
I am absolutely in awe of her. As I said, she's done such a fantastic job.
Deprived of sufficient food as a young child, Sarah binged on comfort carbs.
I was diagnosed with PTSD and hunger was my main trigger.
Nutrition psychology is a growing area.
The 36-year-old, now so healthy, she'll represent Victoria next month in its highest ranking All Abilities netball team. The challenge now is to keep the kilos at bay. Radical weight loss can be difficult to sustain, and obesity experts say regular vigorous exercise is just one of the keys to long-term success.
Eating a diet that's wholesome, making sure that you get enough sleep and moving as much as you can and as often as you can.
Now this weight loss queen wants to become a personal trainer. Jackie Quist, 7 News.
Well done. The very personal reason Crows big man Riley Thilthorpe is losing his iconic facial hair. That's after the break.
Weather-wise, a few more drizzly showers on the way, then some especially warm temperatures. I'll be back with your forecast live from Wollonga.
For Adelaide's latest news and more, tune in to Will Goodings and David Pemberthy on 5AA Breakfast tomorrow morning.
Time for the weather now with Casey, who joins us again from Wollonga.
And Casey, it sounds like we'll be warming up into the weekend.
Rosanna, it is a sign that spring is on the way. In the meantime, though, we are still dealing with some hit and miss showers, so we're staying dry here inside the Wollonga High School shearing shed where the students are gearing up for the Royal Adelaide Show in just 10 days' time. Now, temperature-wise in the city today, the top was 17.6, following an overnight low of 12.7. It's around 13 degrees now, and there has been some light showers about southern parts of the state late this afternoon. In fact, the city had the most with 2 millimetres collected in the West Terrace gauge, and we've got a broad westerly flow with embedded troughs to thank for the drizzly conditions. Meanwhile, a ridge of high pressure is keeping things dry and stable in the north. As that moves east, though, winds will turn northerly, resulting in some warmer temperatures from Friday. Interstate tomorrow, sunny and 27 for Brisbane, cloudy and 22 for Sydney. Over in Perth, rain and 23. Back home, up to 31 degrees for Pukecher, mostly sunny and 25 for Port Augusta. Further south, looking at some light showers again around during the morning and clearing by the evening. A possible shower and 22 for Whyalla, mostly sunny and 22 for Renmark. A shower or two and 19 for Port Lincoln. Possible shower and 21 for Murray Bridge. A shower or two and 18 for Victor Harbour, Kingscote and Narracourt. And a possible shower and 17 for Mount Gambier. For the city, down to 10, then a top of 19. Light shower or two most likely in the morning. Some areas could collect nothing. Other areas could have up to 3 millimetres. On metro waters, variable winds about 10 knots and seas below a metre. Looking ahead, possible showers and up to 24 degrees on Friday. Mostly sunny and 22 Saturday. Shower or two and 21 Sunday. Possible shower and 18 Monday. And maybe some more light showers into the middle of next week. He's hoping, though, we'll have some dry skies in time for the Royal Show. But before I go, let's take a look at tonight's ray of sunshine. Adelaide forward Riley Thilthorpe is sporting a whole new look. With the help of teammate Isaac Rankin, he did away with his long, luscious beard at training today, but it was all for a good cause, raising money for the McGrath Foundation, a charity close to his heart.
They actually helped my auntie back when she had breast cancer as well, so a bit of a connection there, which made it really easy to pick that. Obviously seeing the effect breast cancer has on women and the families around them, so yeah, pretty easy decision.
Well, good on Riley, and he has already raised $11,000 and counting. He's hoping a few more pennies can make its way.
Not bad at all, 11 grand.
Good on you, Riley.
Absolutely. That is all the news for now. We will have updates throughout the evening.
From all the Adelaide 17 for now, it is good night.
Good night.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want every minute of every day, including breaking news alerts. Download the 7 News app.